Okay. Ready to rock and roll. I have no sound though. All right. Thank you so much. Yep. It should be good now. It's good to have your mic plugged in, right? All right. Let's start all over again. And I will edit it. I will edit this tonight up to this point. Hey everyone. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and welcome to the Monday Afternoon Live. We always get together on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and we always draw something that has to do with the landscapes. It could be seascapes, it could be all sorts of things. But today we are going to be drawing this house and this large tree, and I'm going to go over how you create drama and depth using contrast. Okay, so let me kind of walk you through a couple ideas with that. So first thing, on my page right here, let's make sure that we're looking good. Okay, let's say this is the landscape. Okay, and we're going to talk about the first thing you have to realize is atmospheric perspective. What is atmospheric perspective? Simply put, anything in the background, anything that you want off in the distance is going to be lighter in value. Well, that's caused because there is atmosphere between your eyes and the object. So looking at our picture, look at these mountains. Look at those mountains way in the background. They are of lighter value. Well, it's because of all of that atmosphere that's between you and that object. So that's the first thing I want you to remember. Remember atmospheric perspective. Okay, that's number one. Atmospheric perspective. Right, number two. Your eye is always drawn to the light. Okay, your eye always goes toward the light. So we want to keep that in mind because we're going to use that to help tell our story. All right. So example, for in this picture here, your eye really is drawn toward, let me just make sure, yep. It's going to be, what? Isn't there sound now? Someone else tell me. Tammy says there's no sound. I thought I turned it on. Someone else tell me if there's sound. Okay, because from what I could see over here, it should be broadcasting sound. No? Yikes. Okay, let's see here. All right. Stay tuned. I've got to end this broadcast and I'll come right back. Okay, just stay put. Give me a second. All right. All right, how's that now? I'm back. All right, let's start. We're going to keep going here. All right, so back to what I was saying. All right, so number two, atmospheric perspective. And then you remember that your eye is drawn to the light. So, for example, in our photograph here, we have this huge dark tree that is covering this whole entire area. Well, your eye goes right past that and gets right in here to where the house is, especially this little area here because of the high amount of contrast. It really draws your eye in. So let me show you this idea and then we'll get right into drawing this. So let's just say I have a picture I'm going to draw. Okay? And excellent. And I have two scenarios. I'm going to draw a picture. This is a picture inside of a bedroom with a person standing in a doorway. All right, so let's pretend like the doorway is back here. All right, and this bedroom is going to be in shadow. All right, so there's the doorway, and right over here is a person that's going to be a silhouette of a person standing in that doorway. Okay, your eye is drawn to where that light is, so we could really bring in the viewer to where that person is. Now, if I wanted to make it a little bit interesting, I could pretend like there's a monster that's waiting back here, and this monster has a giant claw over here per se, and maybe he has a giant claw over here. And so this is, and here he is right here. This is like a giant crab, let's just say. Okay, so here is the crab in the shadows, all right? So the crab would become the secondary view. So your first eye would see, oh, look, there's a guy in the doorway because the light is driving me to that point. And then my secondary look is going to be like, oh, what's the story here? You see, so I'm using light to tell a story. All right, so let's reverse that now. Let's say this is the doorway. All right. And then this right here, we'll pretend like that's a crab per se. Let's say up here, this is a beam. You know, maybe there's something hanging on this beam, like cobwebs or something. Maybe this right here, this doorway here is right next to this window. And there's something about this window that I want people to see first. So here's another example where, you know, I've reversed it a little bit, and now the doorway is shut and it's dark, but I want them to look toward the window. So when we want to always use value and tone to drive the story of where the viewer is looking. Okay, so just remember that. Remember, light is our path, and atmospheric perspective. Okay, all right. Let's get on to our drawing now. Okay, let's go ahead and start with a nice framework here. Okay. And your picture should be kind of like 5 by 7. You know, 5 by 7 is a good size. 7 by 10, you know, is another good size. Don't go too much bigger than that. Okay, let's go ahead and drop in our horizon line. And let's ignore the tree right now. Let's only focus on the construction of this house, all right? And whenever I am drawing any kind of building, generally the buildings will be shot in 3/4. That means like you're not looking straight at it, you're looking at a corner of the building. And the first thing I always look for is that corner. What corner of the building is closest to me? All right, so let's see here. Let's see if we can kind of guesstimate that, where that's going to be on our picture. All right, I'm gonna guesstimate right about there. All right, next line I want to draw is this one right there and this one over here, okay? So all I'm going to do is just kind of guesstimate where those are, all right? I'm just going to guesstimate. So I'm going to do about that, I think. And then, all right, so I try and get a proportion or an estimate of where I think those are. All right, let's establish where this point right there is. That top corner here. All right, so I'm just going to come in here. I'm going to guess. I'm going to put mine right about there. Then I want to establish where that point is. And that point is a little bit lower, so it's going to be right about there. And I could connect those. Okay, let's get the bottom of the house. I'm gonna estimate. It's gonna be about there. So it's just like right below the horizon line. And there's the back corner. I'll slow down here. All right, let's keep going. Look at this. This is about where the other corner of the house is, and this is where the bottom one. So let's put these in as well. There's that. And there's that. Okay, so this is what your drawing should look like roughly. Something like this. Something like this. Go ahead, I'll give you a minute to try and make sure that you're right on board here, okay? Because this is where it's going to either where you'll have success or failure right here. Okay, let's take the corners here. Let's make an X. That will give us the center area of that square, and then we're going to go straight up here. Mr. Clark, Mr. Chris Clark is in the house. Welcome. Welcome, my friend. And I didn't call out Tamara and Lynn and Tammy and Danny and Sonic is here for the first time. Welcome. And believe it or not, this Thursday, I'll be in New York City with my good friend Lynn, and we'll be going on a museum. So if you are getting this, it's June 20, let's see, what is today? June 20th, June 22nd. In the next couple days, then join us in the at the New York Historical Society. We're going to see one of my favorite illustrators, J.C. Leyendecker, and we'll post some. You can find more information on our Facebook group, or you can, I'm sure I'll be posting something on Friday, or maybe even doing a quick little live feed from the event. So it's our first meetup for A Dad Who Draws. Can't wait. All right, here we go. Center line. We're going to come up here. We're going to kind of guesstimate of how high the peak is of this house. And then we're going to connect these right just like that. You see that? And if you haven't already, I know we're 24 minutes in, but boy, I'd love it if you'd like and subscribe to the video. That really is so important on so many levels. Okay, here we go. Now this top corner here, the peak of the roof, this also goes toward the direction of this vanishing point over here. So all three of these lines should converge off somewhere off to the right. Okay, we're going to use the same angle here. And I can already see that the angle of my house is slightly different from the picture, but that's okay. The key is that you're consistent. So as long as you draw your building correctly in perspective, then as long as you stay faithful to it, it will look fine. Of course, no one will see this picture. They'll just look at my drawing and not have a problem. It's if I go into my drawing and try and make adjustments, I'll be here forever, trying to make it exactly like the house where it's not necessary, okay? Okay, let's come over here now to this line right there and get the halfway point. Then come to this back line and get the halfway point as well. Let's connect those two. And let's do it one more time. Let's come up here, halfway point. And this is what they call a perspective grid. This gives us a rough idea where anything on this side, if it will be in perspective. We're going to draw this awning next, okay? Okay, so I'm just kind of guesstimating on this, okay? And yours might be in a different location, but I'm going to put my awning right about there. Okay. I'm going to come out like this, and I'm going to match that over here. Connect those two. And then we're going to have a pillar there, and the pillar back here. This will be covered by the tree. All right. I'm going to put these windows in now. I'm going to follow my grid there. Okay, the other side. Let's jump over to this line over here now. All right, let's find the center. Find the center there. Find center. All right, now we could add these windows. Okay. All right, back into my house. I'm going to sharpen up that line. Now, there's some architectural details here that I'm just going to sort of wing it now that I've got the general structure of my house down. All right, now I'm going to zoom in here and show you something. I'm going to put the glass panes into these windows here, but notice when I put mine in, I'm going to shift them to the right ever so slightly. So watch what I do here. I'm just going to come in here like this. I'm going to put one there. Let me get these a little smaller here. I'm going to just automatically shift them. Okay, this will make it look like I'm looking at this in perspective. Same thing over here. Doesn't have to be perfect because you've got the overall perspective already set. Okay, let's add some value to this. But now let's look closely at this house. And the sun is hitting it, but there's branches that are in the way. So I'm just going to start with a general light value across my entire house here. Okay. Then to help turn the corner, I'm going to add a little bit more value right up to the corner there on the right hand side. That's the same value that I'm going to add underneath this awning here. So right now I have two values on this house, dark side and light side. And now I just added one more value toward the roof. Oh, great. Yes, doing a chart of your values. That's a good suggestion. Okay, so we have our shadow. We have the value that's going to be in our shadows. So let's add it right up here because this is also shadowed right underneath this Eve here. And there's another shadow underneath this Eve as well. Okay, now after we get those shadows in place, now we have the shadows coming through the tree branches. Okay, so now this is where we can get a little creative. And this should match the cast shadow. And the roof has it as well. Okay, let's keep going. I'm going to erase these little arrows here. Okay, now I'm going to gesture. I'm going to kind of gesture some of the rest of this now that we have our house in place. So let's see. I'm looking at right here. You see there's this is like a path, beginning of a path, and this is the other end of it, the width of it. So let's kind of put that in place. I'm going to put two little markers there like that. And then I'm going to come all the way down. This is important. This is where the path leaves the frame. You see that? And then it leaves the frame kind of right up there. You see? Let's get that in. So this is going to be maybe like right about there. And all right, and then this one's going to come down about like that. All right, let's get this big old tree in now. And I'm going to gesture it. So I'm going to, one thing I am looking at that's helpful is I'm looking at kind of this negative shape. You see, that's what I'm kind of trying to draw lightly. If I look for that negative shape, all right, now drawing this tree, I'm going to draw it with dimensions. So it's going to be very round at its base. I'll be right back. I got to get something to drink. So, be entertained. right. Little seltzer water. Okay, let's keep going. So let's go ahead, now that we've got the shape of our tree in, let's drop a value on this. Dropping a value on this. Okay. We could also, I'm just going to go ahead and drop a value in this ground plane area. Check this out. Look at the value. Look at the value in there compared to the value right there. You see that? So the white of the page will be this white area here. So even the road down below needs to, the path, all of this should have a little bit of tone to it. We always like to put down, I always like to put down some tone first before I start to do texture, all right? So when drawing, I usually go with gesture, construction, then detail. Those are the three phases of my drawing. Construction is working out the perspective, making sure that all is lining up properly. Composition is also part of that, okay? When you get down to detail, now we're talking about texture and value choices, surface lines, all right? Those are the three different categories or areas. All right, so let's look at this tree now. Now, if you remember, I had curved the bottom here. So let's pretend like we're a snake, and the snake is gonna come up on this tree like this. Maybe come up here like this and maybe go around that branch, and we're coming around like that, all right? This isn't an actual snake. This is just going to try and break this down for us. So then we're going to come over here, and it's also going to twist up around the tree, and maybe it comes out on this side here, and it comes up there. This one comes down like this. So I'm almost twisting it as it comes up, okay? Now today I do have a class, a paid class called the Daily Draw. We get together every day of the week for about half an hour, 30 minutes or so. And on Mondays, we look at anything natural. So today we're going to do a deep dive into drawing tree roots and bark. So it should be an excellent class. It's only $10 a month, and that gives you about 20 hours of instruction, 20 hours of live instruction like this, where we could talk about your work. If you run into a problem, I could really help you. And you will find the link for the Daily Draw down in the description. All right? All right, let's keep going here. All right, let's look at this. There are some grasses that are growing, so we can even start to add some of those. And you want to add these in patches. We bring this up. You know, you work the whole picture. That's how I do it. I bring this thing up nice and slowly, jump a little bit here, jump a little bit over there. Adjusting values, maybe making some areas darker than others. In this roadway that is coming across. Now watch this. I'm going to use some surface lines. Maybe a couple little pebbles there. Here's the edge of the grass, and I'm okay, taking a nice I want this foreground here, this grass that's like, I want this to be darker value so that I know it's a little bit different than the photo, but so your eye goes beyond the grass and kind of follows this path. You know, that where's this path leave? Does it leave down to a beach down by the end of the bay there, right? All right, I'm going to come back to my tree trunk now. Now watch this. I'm going to start adding some surface lines to describe the surface of this tree here. You see it? Surface line is interesting. It's this idea. Like if you have two trunks of a tree like this, well, a surface line is something I might add to it that would make it be round, you see? It really gives a 3D quality. Now, if I reverse those lines, I can give the idea that the tree is coming forward or backward. You see, by adding those surface lines. So that is something I'm going to use to help describe the form and the mass of this tree. Just working my way up up this main branch here. lot of this will be filled with branches. I'm also thinking, as I'm drawing this tree, I'm thinking of overlap. I've also changed the direction of these surface lines, that once I go above my eye line, they go in this direction. When they're below my eye line, I go like this. Ooh, look what time it is. But we'll go over a little bit because we had a couple blunders there at the beginning, right? So I'm just adding texture to this tree here. Now I'm going to come back into it with tone. Just trying to keep some variation between darker values and lighter values. Even as I put some leaves in the background here of this tree, I'm going to go a little bit lighter on them, so they will give a sense of depth. Okay, I'm going back into my bark and just adding some change in value. And then now I'm going to do a cast shadow across the ground. So what's key on this, like I said, is really to get the understanding of how to draw a cube in perspective. Remember, if I'm drawing a building, I try and establish where the horizon line is first. Put a line to where the nearest corner to me is. And now this is the angle. I want to match what I see in the picture. And then match this side here. And that's my basic block structure. That's the center. Now this is what you want to get really good at when it comes to drawing houses. You want to get this concept and idea down, okay? And as you get this down, if you get this down really well, then you can start like getting more and more complicated by adding more houses, or adding a gable or things of that sort. But this is get this concept down to where you could draw this in your sleep. Then you could start moving on from there. You may not have noticed, but I put the little mountains in the background when I was filling in, so you may not have heard me say anything at that moment. And I think that's going to do it for today. I hope you found that helpful. Like I said before, please subscribe to the channel. Throw a comment down in the comments. As we continue, I'm always looking for ways, certain things that you may want to draw that we haven't hit on. Join our Facebook group. Join the Daily Draw. These are all resources that will really help you to excel in your drawing. All right, my name's Kurt. I'm a Daddy Draws, and I am so glad that you were able to join me. Thank you for your patience at the beginning, and I will see you guys later. Okay, all right, bye-bye. Go out there, make your day great.